Hey there, viewers. Hey there, readers. Hey there, listeners. This is our brand new podcast called Ideas to Fortune. As you can see right here, Ideas to Fortune, ignite your passion, fuel your purpose. I'm your host, Daryn Ross, with my co-host,
Michael Stults.
Michael Stults. And actually, this podcast is a podcast designed for, I'd say, business owners, entrepreneurs, and wannabe entrepreneurs, which is what we call wantrepreneurs. And basically, it's here to just give people some great, solid information to inform, to inspire, to basically ignite that energy or that fuel in you to help take your business and your thought processes and everything to a whole new level. And the way this show is going to be designed, this has been our brainchild for about the last 14,
15 months.
Yeah, about a year and a half actually. And basically, what we want to do is bring you some really good, high-level content from business owners, entrepreneurs, thought leaders, peak performance experts, but they all have to fit and mold into our criteria, which they have to have high integrity, high character, high morals, high ethics, high standards. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a podcast that has a Christian platform to it. And we don't want to bring people on here that are using all kinds of, foul words or swear words or trying to, put out their political views and stuff. That's not what this is for. This is here to strictly inspire the business owner and entrepreneur, somebody that really wants to get this thing going and take their business to a whole new level. So I'm going to let Mike kind of chime in here a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the format and what we're going to do and some of our future plans. And so just to kind of let you know what's coming down the road. Go ahead, Mike.
Daryn, hey, I'm so excited. You're such a great guy, and I'm very blessed to have this opportunity to do this with you. And like you said, it's been 14, 15, 16 months in the making, and here we are getting this thing kicked off. And there's a certain degree of uncertainty here, but we're going to let the good Lord kind of guide us a little bit and kind of see where this leads us, because we have a lot of opportunity to touch people's lives with your knowledge, Daryn, my experiences, and vice versa. So we could put that together. I think we could really inspire people. The topic or the name of our show is Ideas to Fortune, but that's not about monetary gain. Obviously, money is second to oxygen in the world we live in, but it could be for your spiritual being. It could just be for your relationships with people. It could just be for yourself between your own 2 ears, where you can get better at something every day and strive to do something very positive.
Yeah, I want to get that across to our viewers and our listeners. Stuff. It's not the words "ideas to fortune." It's the fortune part is definitely not about wealth and money and materialistic things. Sure, there'll be some of that in there, and you'll hear from some of our people that we interview who have acquired a lot of these things, which is fine. That's great, but it's not the premise and the main focus of this whole show and this whole episode.
Now, Daryn, what? Tell the people that are listening, what do you envision this looks like as far as an episode standpoint that they should expect from us?
Well, actually, what I'd like to do is have these episodes try to stay somewhere in the 30-minute range. Some of them will be recorded live over Skype, and some of them, which is kind of where my interest lies and my passion, Mike and he and I together probably will like to go out and actually do some live interviews on site at people's companies, at people's businesses, and kind of like a short little radio interview type thing. But and then what our views or our purpose is to basically send those interviews and that content out to our interviewees, and they can push that out to their tribe, their list, their customers, their prospects, or whatever. And it's just to basically give some serious content and some inspiration and some just great information to help people grow themselves and grow their businesses. And heck, there's going to be some stuff in here about how people can grow their families, grow their marriage. I mean, it's not just going to be strictly tied to business and to making the almighty dollar. But I will say this. I mean, Mike and I actually met in church probably 10. Gosh, when was it? Today. This is November 2015, November 15th, 2015 to be exact. Our inaugural episode number 0001. So, Mike, when did we meet? Probably
about 2004.
So we've known each other like 11 years, and Mike's gone through a lot, and I've gone through a few things. And you're going to hear about that on our upcoming episodes here pretty soon. But Actually, one thing that I've always, I grew up in a I always say a beaver cleaver family. I was the beef.
He was the beef.
And my mom and dad were basically like Ward and June Cleaver. And I know a lot of our listeners and readers and viewers are probably too young. They're probably just like, what the heck is beaver cleaver? Well, go Google it. You'll find out what beaver cleaver. Leave It to Beaver, the television show, started in the late 50s, early 60s. That's the way I grew up. So I grew up in a real grounded, just solid family, only child. But, we grew up, in a Christian home, going to church every Sunday. But I've always believed that God has to be a central part of your business and your life. I have not always lived like that in my business, I'll tell you that. But I developed a central Bible verse that I kind of like to live our business by and my life by, probably 4.5 years ago. Actually, it's almost 5 years ago. Proverbs 16:3. Commit to the Lord everything you do, and your plans will succeed. And I try to live that out, but like everybody else, like we're human, I fall back. I don't do that all the time, but then I find myself picking myself up, dusting myself off, and going at it again. So that's kind of what I try to live my life by. Mike, I don't know, do you have one you live by all the time, or?
There's a few. I mean, the one that just came to mind would be, for all sin came short of the glory of God, Romans 6:23, I believe it is. And the reason why that one comes to mind is, recently this week there was a conversation with the gentleman at the gym. I was sharing with you a few days ago.
You were telling me about that.
He, he was very worried about his appearance with how he looks. And I just remember I felt compelled just to tell him that, hey, it's not about how you look. He's not going to be judging you by your appearance, and we're all imperfect. It's about a relationship with you and the Lord. And so going back to that verse, it reminds me that every day I realize I'm such a screw up. I don't mean that to be negative. It's just I fall short every day. I sin just like everybody else, no matter how I proclaim my Christianity, my religion, my relationship with the Lord. I still fall short every day, and I have to get back up, dust myself off, ask for forgiveness, and say, hey, give me a better strength today. Give me a little bit more to do X, Y, Z to become better. So, we were talking about today with the sermon at church that, hey, a hospital or churches, aren't, what they say, a museum for saints, but a hospital for sinners. I'm like, man, that's exactly right. So that's kind of the verse that comes to my mind.
Well, so basically our original plans were to just do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then Mike's technology background kind of, he brought a few things more to light and kind of, brought some more ideas to me. And so basically he said, well, let's do a blog and also have a podcast. And I'm like, okay, that sounds great, but let's do a blog and do a podcast and do a video cast. So I love video. I've always loved video. I always like video. So here, this is our inaugural episode, and our plans were basically just to do an original podcast, throw it up online, let people listen to it through iTunes. But I thought, well, heck, since we're recording the thing, it's not much more work to throw a video camera, and you can see, and the audio quality of this, I think, and you think it's pretty good, Mike?
I think it's pretty good. We had a little bit of difficulty getting going today.
For our first episode, I'm pretty doggone pleased, if I must say so myself. But we thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and video this thing, and then that way there's people that are, they absorb information by reading, others absorb it by listening, others absorb it by watching. So we're like, well, let's not alienate anybody. Let's just cover all the bases of getting this content out there, and that way we'll just reach a lot more people. So that's what we did, and we hope you're one of those three type of people, either a reader, a listener, or a viewer. So
for everyone listening, what I would like to point out is, the future episodes that we're going to record, me and Daryn, whether it's just me one time or Daryn or both of us together, is that we're going to pour our heart and soul into this. We're going to be, as transparent as possible, so that way we can become authentic and really show something of value to you. And of course, there's many a podcasts out there. Me and Daryn subscribe to several of them and listen to them. But I think what's unique about us is that God has a plan for Daryn's life, my life, and your life. And so through that, I know that we can touch some people. And as we dive into a little bit more, you'll hear more about Daryn's story, hear about my story, and we each have different points that affected other people along the way. So with that said, I'm ready to get going.
All right, man. Real quick before we in this first episode, I want us to kind of let our listeners and viewers and readers know just a real quick summary, a little snippet about each of our business lives and our career paths and stuff, just maybe like 30 seconds, 45 seconds each. So Mike, go ahead and do yours.
I work at McDonald's. Just kidding. A little bit about me. Background is marketing and advertising. Early on as in financial services. As things had grown, I had moved into marketing and advertising full time since 2008. And really, God has used those abilities and talents to bless my family and do a lot of great things. Of course, I'm not as cool as Daryn, so I can't say I've owned a business for 30 years.
So I started a company in my college dorm room in 1987 in the custom apparel business. And I started selling T-shirts and sweatshirts to all the college fraternities and sororities and Greek organizations and school organizations. When I was in school, basically that took over. That took over my my actual college studies. I did graduate, by the way. I will not tell you my grade point average because when my daughters found my transcript about 6 months ago, they were appalled at the grade point average that Daddy-O graduated with. But anyway, it served me well over the years. I started that company. My parents joined me about a year later. We still own that company today. I have been out of that business for several months now because I said that I'm kind of going to pursue a sabbatical, and during that sabbatical of the last several months, I've decided kind of what it is that I want to do. And what I'm doing now with this podcast and this video cast is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. I always say it's my hobby. I don't golf, gamble, drink, smoke, do drugs, or go to strip clubs. But I love learning. I love sharing. I love educating people, and I love being educated myself. So that's why I'm putting all this content together to bring it along with Mike to you guys. So you'll hear a lot more about our businesses and our personal journeys in the upcoming episodes. So with that, we are going to say thank you for listening to this first episode. We're getting ready to do some others that you're going to really be excited to hear, and I think they're going to benefit you in your business life, your family life, your marriage life, whatever else. What else, Mike?
I couldn't have said it any better myself.
Okay. Thank you guys for
Thanks, guys.
sticking in here. We'll see you and hear you on the next episode.
All right.